Yes, Harry McGurdy can dress better than me. We are talking all things League Two at the PFA Vertu Motors Fans Player of the Year end of season event. Kenzie, that is a mouthful.
Yes, that is, but you did it very well.
Thank you very much. Our nominees for League Two: Dom Telford at Newport County, Matty Stevens of Forest Green Rovers, Mitchell Pinic, Northampton Town, Harry McGurdy, aforementioned from Swindon Town, Kane Wilson and Jamil Matt from Forest Green Rovers. We welcome Gab Sutton from the EFL Debate Show. I've just learned you're a Blues fan, so we'll keep our distance. Ollie Smith from the FGR Pod and Charles from It's All Cobblers to Me. And Kenzie Benali, how you doing?
Hello, I'm very good. I'm very excited. I mean, some brilliant players that we're about to be talking about.
Yeah, we've got three big hitters in the middle here as well. We have to start, Ollie, with you and Rob Edwards. He was your manager, and now he's not. What happened?
Well, I feel emotionally drained. It's been a roller coaster over the last few days. On 4 days ago, I was on the pitch at Mansfield celebrating with Rob Edwards and the team winning the title, and now he's off to Watford and he's abandoned us. But yeah, it's a lot of controversy around the move, but we can't stand in his way. It's been a brilliant season at Forest Green. He's a great manager. And a move like Watford is an incredible opportunity for Rob and Richie Carley's assistant. But at Forest Green, we have to remember we're going to be a League One club next season. We're still in a great place. We've kept Richard Hughes, the director of football, who was set to go to Portsmouth actually, but we managed to keep him. And yeah, we're still in a very good place, a brilliant season. Where do we go from now? Who knows?
I think you're being very kind to the manager, because I like the quotes from your owner, Dale Vince. He said it takes a bit of a shine off the promotion, but also if there's karma in football, you might just meet in the Championship. So do you think that's a possibility?
Well,
do you see that?
Dale Vince has publicly said he wants to get to the Championship eventually with Forest Green. But to talk about the comments from Dale Vince there, he's always been very outspoken, especially on Twitter, about everything to do with Forest Green. But the incident with Rob and Watford, I think, has really quite annoyed him, because in a press conference quite recently, Rob said, I'm definitely going to be here next year, definitely in League One. And then, I think the day after the club's promotion party, he's off to Watford. So, yeah, I mean, that's how football works these days. It's not nice to see. I think that the best way to have dealt with the situation would have been, an open letter to the fans saying, look, we've had a brilliant season. I can't turn down this opportunity. But unfortunately, it's not gone that way. And a lot of the Forest Green fan base have turned against him, which is crazy, because a few days ago he was our hero.
Ollie, you're waiting for the letter, Rob. We'll tell him now. Gay, what do you make of all this?
I think that you've got to take into perspective how big an opportunity this is for Rob Edwards, because not only is it a chance to work in a higher division than Forest Green next season, it's an opportunity potentially to get into the Premier League the following season and pit his whips against Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. Would he have got that opportunity if he hadn't sort of had those conversations privately? We'll never know the answer to that question. So I certainly have a certain amount of sympathy for Rob Edwards with the way he's gone about things, but I can understand why Dale Vince isn't happy either.
Charles?
Oh, well, they can have him back in October, can't they, when he gets back?
I'm going to say, Watford's track record.
Yeah, he won't be there at Christmas. So, I mean, Dale can have his manager back then, can't he, Ollie?
Yeah, probably.
Well, Ollie, I want to talk to you about the season as a whole then, because it was incredible. I imagine from a fan's perspective, I mean, you're just on top of the world, really. I mean, 19 games unbeaten, obviously deserving champions. Tell us how you're feeling after such a great campaign and what it was like watching them throughout the year.
Well, it's going to be crazy in League One next season, playing against teams like Portsmouth, Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday. At the new lawn at Forest Green, we average just under 3,000 supporters, so it's a massive step up. And going into the season, expectations weren't that high with Rob Edwards just taking over. We knew we had a good squad at Forest Green, but when you get a new manager, there's always that period of transition. But we really started off really well, and I think it was 10 points clear at the end of January, start of February, and we did have a bit of a wobble towards the end of the season, but we managed to get over the line, and I think we've been the best team in the league this far by quite some distance.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I think just how good you have been, and Ollie said it there, Gabe. I mean, 10 points clear at the start of February is really something. Were you ever in doubt it was going to go this way?
I wasn't in doubt. I think that Forest Green aren't probably uniformly popular with the rest of the EFL community. So I think, and Ollie's laughing at it there. So I think for a lot of people, like there was that feeling of, oh, are they going to bottle it? But I never felt like that was going to happen. And although Forest Green haven't finished the season convincingly as such, I think it was four wins in 17. For 2/3 of the campaign, no one's been anywhere near them, Kenzie. So in a way, I'm quite glad that that's been reflected in the end of season table.
Yeah,
The way Gabe said nobody likes Forest Green, though.
I didn't say nobody likes Forest Green.
It was so lovely and polite, wasn't
Nobody likes Villa, that's what it is.
and the arms crossed made it even more intimidating, actually. Charles, what were your thoughts on that? In Gabe's words, did you ever think they were going to bottle it?
I thought they had bottled it, in fairness. When Exeter went above you in the league at our place, thanks to that 1-1 draw, I couldn't see Port Vale that beat Exeter on the last day of the season, which essentially gave you the title back. I mean, it was yours to lose.
Yeah, it was.
So it's, for you, I'm glad that, you did get it there, because how awful would that have been all season, being like, look at us, we're amazing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you throw it away at the end. But there was definitely an element of what Gab was saying, that essentially I was laughing. So,
Charles, do you want to talk about Bristol Rovers?
No, I don't want to talk about Bristol Rovers or Scunthorpe United. No.
Unfortunately,
No,
Gabe was going to say something there, so we'll give you a quick breather.
Well, I think the League Two promotion race last season was wide open, and I think that's one of the reasons why Forest Green were able to win the title in the end, despite not finishing the season in the best of form, because Bristol Rovers were able to, they were in the bottom half around December time, and they still won automatic promotion, a little bit like Bolton the year before. So what I've loved about League Two this season is it's just been so open in terms of that promotion race, and you've never really been able to tell what's going to happen from one week to the next, and let's hope for more next season.
So Bristol Rovers, 7-0 against Scunthorpe. Poor old Owen Foster, who was in goal for Scunthorpe, every time Rovers scored, he tried to keep the ball away from them. He was getting kicked left, right and centre. But were you watching that game live? How were the emotions that day?
No, I was in Barrow at that time. Basically, got to half-time, I was like, we're up, that's absolutely fine. I went into that game, into that day, thinking, we've just got to win. There's no way that Bristol Rovers are going to overturn a 5-goal deficit in the goal difference stakes. There's no way that's going to happen. So we went 3-0 up within 25 minutes, something like that. I was in League One. I was there. I was already getting my Pompey ticket, getting my Sunderland ticket. It was all happening. And then, Barrow scored. I think Josh Kay scored their consolation, as it turned out to be, and then opened up his PayPal account to the world. And then, we just started seeing on, Twitter and the app saying that another goal was going in at the Mem, another goal. And it got to 5-0 at the Memorial, and I just went, this is happening, isn't it? I can't believe they're going to get 7 here. And within, 10 minutes, there was a pitch invasion. They just thought, we'll just have a breather. We'll be all right. We'll have a breather, lads, and we'll sort that out, and then we'll go back and we'll finish it off after Northampton have finished their game. I look, that day I was fuming, I was upset, I was angry, but I can't control what Bristol Rovers do. I can't control what team Keith Hill decides is his strongest team to put out on the last day of the season.
Well, that was the interesting talk. Was it 7 teenagers by Scunthorpe?
Yeah,
what did you make of that?
I don't know the exact amount. I know that I don't want to add to this whole narrative that the Cobblers are like really, really unhappy and are making formal complaints, because it's not true. We spoke to the EFL about, well, hang on a minute, your rules are a little bit flimsy here. Is this fair? Should this ever happen again? I think was the conversation that our chairman had with the EFL. At the time, I was going, this is absolutely bang out of order, this is dreadful. They did play mostly that same team for their last 3 games. So it wasn't quite like they just went, the last game, we'll throw it and we'll let Bristol Rovers win promotion. I'm not suggesting that they did that whatsoever. But to put a 17-year-old first-year scholar in goal, and then release him, the poor guy. I mean, he's just been left on the scrap heap completely. He's never going to get picked up by another league club, probably, because all his show reel is going to be is picking the ball out the net 7 times.
But you're not bitter.
Not bitter.
Have a drink.
Have a water. Ollie, do you want to tell Charles what it's like to be a League One club. You've still got the playoffs.
Oh, hang on a minute.
This is going to get a bit feisty here, I
He's
think.
on your end.
Oh my word. Well, listen, should we get into kind of talking specifically about some of the players? Ollie, I want to put this one to you. Let's talk about Carl Wilson. I mean, what a player he is. Someone who's really thrived under Edwards, obviously voted League Two Player of the Year at the EFL Awards. I mean, how much has he impressed you this year?
Wow, Kane Wilson has been amazing this season. So instrumental to our success. And, I was speaking earlier and saying that he could easily follow Rob Edwards to Watford. He's got that talent. I think, he's in negotiations with Forest Green at the moment, but let's be honest, he's not going to stay at Forest Green. Championship is where he can play. He's got that talent. And it's been a journey for Kane Wilson because last season he struggled to get into our team. He was the first to admit that it was a bit part season. He struggled with injuries, but he couldn't get in the side over Jaden Richardson on loan from Nottingham Forest. Whereas this season, I think he's really benefited from Rob Edwards and his great management skills because he's been given sort of plenty of confidence and belief to just play his game. He's been unleashed down on the right-hand side. He can nutmeg a mermaid. He's so good.
I've never heard that before.
That is the phrase of the day already.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, Charles, what do you think on this then? Because as Ollie said, Kane likely to go. I mean, they're saying talks are ongoing, but I mean, he's so capable of, high League One football or indeed Championship football.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for him, do you think?
Yeah, I think he's got a good future with him. I mean, it's so, like, Gab will know this, League Two, League One to an extent, it's so funny in terms of the players because, as Ollie said, one season they can be nowhere and not even in the team, and then all of a sudden they'll go and something clicks, whether it's the manager that comes in or the other players around them. And he's had a fantastic season, there's no denying it. He's been absolutely brilliant. I think it's always a shame when you're supporting a lower league club when that happens almost, because you want to enjoy it for as long as you can do, knowing full well that they're going to be gone at the end of that season, more than likely. So you're kind of always preparing yourself for the inevitability that they're going to move on, which is a shame. But I mean, you have to enjoy them while they're there, which I think you have done.
Yes,
in fairness.
definitely, yes.
But he's a fantastic talent, and I agree with you. I think he'll play Championship.
Gab, what's your thoughts on that? Do you think he'll be heading to the Championship next season?
I think he could be good enough for the Championship. I think that probably League One, in my opinion, would be the more natural step, or if he does go to the Championship, probably a team that would maybe allow for a little bit of inconsistency because it is such a big step up, and he has had one really good season after maybe struggling a little bit to kind of make his mark. So for me, going to Watford, where you're going to be expected to finish in the top six next season and have that consistency, I feel like that might be too much too soon for Kane. But I think if he gets a good League One move, like somewhere like an Ipswich or something like that, I think he could really thrive.
Not Mega Mermaid. I'm still
Still on that.
Yeah.
That's going to be circling
Still on
for a
that.
while.
Gab, I'll stay with you. Newport County's Dom Telford, 25 goals in 37 games, but his contract's up. Do you think he's going to re-sign?
It's a really good question. I think he will get offers elsewhere. But I think he's benefited a lot from playing under James Rowberry because he's a really talented coach that Newport County have poached from Cardiff City, just down the road from there. And he's got a very good reputation at youth level, and he gets his teams playing really quick, really attractive football. And there's a sort of an emphasis on creating lots of high quality, clear cut chances, which I think is a system where Dom Telford has benefited from. And if you put him on his own at top in a long ball side, he's probably not going to have as much joy. So I think that he's had a really good season, yes, and 25 goals is a fantastic output, but I think it's the system as well, and it's similar with Matt Stevens, I think, at Forest Green.
Yes,
Yeah, Ollie, no one scored 20 or more goals for Newport since 1984.
Wow.
So that's good news for Newport fans. But was this the season of his life? Was this a one-off or not?
Well, as a Forest Green fan, no offence to Tom Telford, but I hadn't heard of him before this season, and we managed to keep him quiet when we played Newport County, but he's really been on fire this season. The goals just keep on coming in, and when you see him in the flesh, he's quite a small player. He's like I reckon 5'4" in height, so it's difficult. You don't get those players in League Two. It's quite a physical league, so he's done really well to get the amount of goals he has. But in my opinion, if Matty Stevens had stayed fit, he would have picked him to the Golden Boot.
Kenzie,
Just another point on Telford though. His best seasons has tended to come as part of a front two, which I think is one to look out for because he played for Bury under Ryan Lowe, who also likes 3-5-2. Robury is more of a 4-4-2 diamond guy, but I think expansive teams which play with two up top really going to work for Dom Telford, I think.
back to you, Kenzie.
Thank you very much. Oh, I love that little throw. Let's talk Jamil Matt, shall we? Again, just an outstanding player. Talisman for Forest Green, really. I mean, he registered 19 goals and 10 assists. And what a lovely partnership, by the way, that he developed with Stevens up top. How key was he to the success of the team this season?
Massive. Jamil Matt is massive for Forest Green Rovers. We saw it last season when he broke his hand against Bolton, that we completely dropped off after he departed the team, just because there's nobody quite like that in the squad. And you can't get players like Jamil Matt who are happily going to come and sit on the bench to fill in for him. And I think this season it's basically been more of the same. He's been scoring plenty of goals. Even when he doesn't score goals, he's so influential to the team. He holds the ball up well. And he's really benefited from Kane Wilson and Nicky Cadden out wide in their deliveries this season, because a lot of his goals have been headers or tap-ins just inside the box. And I'm so glad that he's committed his future for next season at Forest Green. And he's a fan favourite, and I think we're going to need him if we're going to stay up in League One.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you said it there, but Charles, he's kind of been contributing not only with the goals, but in all areas of the pitch. That work rate is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think we tried to sign him maybe 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. Didn't happen, obviously. And now we regret that massively, probably. But every time I've seen him play, he's been a real force for the whole team and been a focal point for them. And, I'm glad to sort of hear, because with all the players that we've sort of talked about, there's always going to be that element that they'll move on and they'll go away from the club that they've had success with. And for a footballer, that's probably quite a tough decision to make. It's a short career. They've not got long. They're not earning millions at this level. So they've still only got maybe 10 to 15 years where they can make enough money for them to then have the rest of their life as easy as it can be. So do you want to take all the money that you can possibly get? Definitely. But at the same time, you obviously want to enjoy your football. You want to be playing as best as you possibly can. And sometimes, and we've seen it before with players, that they move on after having one really good season from a different club, get a big move, and then flatter to deceive, and they don't do it. James Norwood with Ipswich, for example, goes from Tranmere having scored and set League Two alight, goes and does absolutely nothing with Ipswich.
So I just continuing on the Jamil Matt theme, following on from Charles's point about some players doing well at one club but not in another, and how the system works for you. What really impresses me about Jamil Matt, Kenzie, is that he's been able to play well in different systems. So a few seasons ago he was playing for Newport when they reached the playoffs, and that was in quite a direct side alongside Porrick Hammond. And then for Forest Green Rovers it's more of a possession side where it's about getting the wing backs high up the pitch and more building the play that way. So I think that shows that he's quite a multi-purpose striker. He's got that physicality and height, but he can join in with a link-up play as well. So I think he's a complete centre-forward at this level, and he's proven that time and time again.
Well, next up, Mitch Pinic. I'll come to you, Charles. Such a tricky guy. For a tall player, he's really good on the ball. 9 goals, 13 assists, a fun watch. Looking ahead to this video we're going to be doing, he's probably my favourite to watch. Just slippery player, right?
He's great, and I'll be honest straight away, his dad's brilliant as well. So we met him on the way to Barrow on the train. Oh. His dad had done a little song. I think the football club had asked the players' parents to do good luck messages, and Mitch's dad did a little song, got his guitar out, did Mitchy Pins a cobbler, and he's going up. It was great. And then he was on the train, and I just thought, I'll have to go and introduce myself, say hello, got a little picture. Lovely bloke. I can't believe how good this guy is. I mean, having come down from Scotland, like most of our players did at the start of this season for some reason, we all kind of were like, why are we signing players from Scotland? Scotland's not great. Sorry, there's my issue with Scottish football. And you're coming in, what are you going to do? And yet he's actually set our team on fire. He's, nicknamed the postman. He'll basically always deliver. He'll put it, postage stamp it. But he'll get it in there. Yeah, well, I'm not going to just steal other people's lines. Not like that.
It's still a good line.
Yeah.
It's still a good line.
But yeah, I can't. Our team this season has been full of players that have come in and have really turned us around. We had such a disappointment last year in getting relegated in the manner that we did. Obviously, we couldn't be there at all for our League One campaign last year. That was hard.
It would have been harder if you were there, to be fair.
Probably, mate. Yeah, it probably would have been harder being there. But, we sort of at that point now where we've had these players, Pinic, Liam Roberts as well, who I'm astounded isn't up for this, is essentially because he's a goalkeeper. I think he's been hard done by there. 21 clean sheets and he doesn't get a look in. Mad. But
talk to the guys behind the camera.
I will do. I'll be going and chatting to him and saying this isn't on. Give him a car. That'll do it. But yeah, I think Mitch Pinic, the way he is and the way that he's connected with the fans as well has been absolutely brilliant.
I just wanted to ask Gab quickly, as he played 46 games as well. How hard is that to do in League Two?
Especially for an attacking player as well, because normally for a defender, it's probably a little bit easier to get 40-plus league starts. But for an attacking player, where you may be a little bit more prone to challenges and you maybe requires a little bit more energy, that's really impressive to find that consistency. And I think, Northampton defensively have been really good all season, but I think Pinic is the one consistent attacking performer because they lost Keon Etet on loan, who was the lad they had on loan from Tottenham halfway through the season. And then Charles, I think, will probably say, took a couple of months to kind of adjust to that. More recently, we've seen the likes of Louis Apire and Sam Hoskins and the lad on loan from Leicester, Eppier, come into form. But Pinic has been the one who's been good for them from start to finish, and that's the crucial thing.
Yeah, and it's like when we lost the Tete back to Spurs, we didn't really know what to do. It was a bit strange. We'd been playing with essentially Pinic on one side, Sam Hoskins on the other, with a Tete down the middle, and it had worked, and it had been absolutely brilliant. I think the best game that the trio had was away at Tranmere back in November. Everything worked and was on a plate for them. Tete went, we didn't really know what to do. We then had to shoehorn a couple of other players in. We made loads of January signings, mostly loans, apart from Apare, who came in, and Pinic ended up having to play either at a number 10 or even at one point he played central midfield. And yet, so to your point of him playing 46 games, like every game of the season, it almost feels like he had to play. He's that good that you can't leave him out of our team. And I do think you're right. I do think that we've been undersold this season. Nobody's really looked at us. We've been at an underdog. Our fans don't like you, Gab.
Is that why Ollie's in the middle?
Yeah,
Do we need to keep each other apart?
But he's gone and done, as with the team, he's had a fantastic season compared to what we were all expecting. So it's brilliant to see he's up for this award.
Just on Northampton, while we've
get your excuses in now. Is
well,
that what you're doing? You're defending yourself. Can't do it again.
Firing back here.
Well, actually, I wanted to mention Liam Roberts. He's not made the shortlist, so I'm just kind of. That I saw a one-handed save at Mansfield. I can't remember who had the shot in that game, but it was just literally astonishing. Showed incredible sort of agility to get across to his far post, and I think he's a fantastic shot stopper. And I was like gobsmacked at that moment. So that was a big moment for me. Although Northampton did end up losing that particular game, but
why do you have to do this every time? It's like
just drop that one in there. Let's talk Matty Stevens, shall we? I mean, we spoke about how Kane Wilson has developed under Edwards. I mean, he's another fine example of this, isn't he? 23 goals, I think, for him this season, which is remarkable. I think that actually broke the record for goals in League Two for Forest Green. How much have you enjoyed watching him this season?
Matty has been incredible, and from a supporter's point of view, it's been great to see the journey he's been on, because when we signed him a few seasons ago, he was brought in as Christian Doidge's replacement, the man who he's just gone to break his record. But it's not been a great journey at Forest Green for him, because last season he completely fell out of favour under Mark Cooper. Went on loan to a struggling Stevenage side, didn't get on well there at all. And in interviews, Mark Cooper would publicly have a go at the attacking players, saying they're not scoring enough goals, and that just ruined his confidence completely. Whereas this season it's been completely different. We've seen Rob Edwards come into the team, give him a new burst of life, and he's been scoring plenty of goals, had a great bond with supporters, and he did suffer an unfortunate ACL injury just before the end of the season, which I'm adamant, if that didn't happen, he would have won the Golden Boot, and we probably may have, won the league with a bit more of a gap. But yeah, Matty Stevens, he's been on a great journey, and hopefully his recovery is a quick one, because he's a brilliant player, and we're going to need him next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, we're wishing him a very speedy recovery. And as you said, last season, it's almost hard to look back on because it wasn't working out well for him, or as he would have liked. But it does just show when a manager can instill that confidence in you, just how good that can be for your performances, isn't it, Gabe?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where Rob Edwards' man management qualities have really come to the fore. And he's experienced working with young players, got an excellent reputation at that level, which I think really is quite a big factor in why Watford decided to take that punt on him. He's he was coaching the England under-16s previously. He also did a bit of work with the under-20s, I think, as well, and then Wolves under-23s. So he's got that grounding and experience with working with young players, and I think his predecessor maybe struggled a little bit more with the man management aspect of it. So I think Edwards has a lot of potential as a coach, and I think Matt Stevens really reaped the benefit of that.
Yeah, and there were stories of, at a team hotel on away games that, the team and Rob and his coaching staff would just sit there for hours after a meal talking, and that's something that would never have happened under the previous manager. And I think the bonds that Rob Edwards has provided with supporters and with this team has been immense, and it's a shame that it's all gone like that. But I think with Matty Stevens, his journey has been an incredible one. And if you're looking at players, for Watford who may not have been involved this season, maybe youngsters, they can certainly go on to have a great season under Rob Edwards, because his man management is second to none. And I think with a lot of the Forest Green team, even though he's just left, we've seen on Twitter from Matty Stevens himself, posting thank you to Rob and Richie Kyle for giving him a chance, and he's repaid that loyalty shown in him by the management staff.
Ollie, you could always become a Watford fan.
It sounds like he's trying to do it, doesn't it?
I'm fine.
He's thinking about it.
So 6 great nominations. We have to wrap up with the playoffs, though. I know you've got a dog in the fight. So Charles, Mansfield, Northampton and Swindon, Port Vale. Playoff predictions, we'll start with you.
Well, we're going to win it, obviously.
Yes, of course.
No, I think because obviously the disappointment that we had in the last game of the season, it took me probably about a week. We recorded a preview show with our fellow Mansfield fans from their podcast on Wednesday night, and it was during that recording that I started to feel the screw sort of turning, and I'd gone from being down in the dumps and miserable to being a bit more, actually no, isn't it better to win at Wembley? So we're there. I mean, this will be our I think it's our 4th or 5th trip to Wembley now in the last 25 years in the playoffs. We know what to do in terms of, as a football club, maybe different squads and everything like that, but we've tasted success at Wembley. We've had heartache in ones that we don't mention, and I genuinely look at it and think there's already a bit of beef with Mansfield in the playoffs from 2003-04 when they beat us in the semi-final then. So revenge is on the cards for that. And then whichever of the clubs that we end up playing, whether it be Swindon or it be Port Vale, I mean, we need to get Swindon back for the 5-2 humiliation that they caused us just before Man City humiliated them back a week later. And then Port Vale, it's a bit of a weird one, because there's a weird sort of, not beef between the two fans, but back when the pandemic all happened and the League Two got stopped and it was all decided on PPG, it was us that went into the playoffs to win it that year, leaving Port Vale 0.1 of a point per goal or point per game thing behind us in 8th. They all say that it was fine, that they were happy with just being in 8th position was great, but I think they'll be kind of wanting to get one up on us after that. So whatever happens, I think it's going to be a really good playoff campaign for all 4 teams, apart from Mansfield, because we're just going to stuff them.
Ollie, quickly, who are your 2 final teams and who's going to win the playoffs, do you think?
For me, I think whoever is between Swindon and Port Vale for me.
Oh, get out!
Because Swindon did a double on us this season, and they play excellent football. Scott Lindsay, the assistant manager, used to be at Forest Green. They've got 2 former Forest Green goalkeepers as well, so I have to support them. And then Port Vale are a very difficult team to beat, in my opinion. So yeah, if I had to pick one of those 2, I think it would be Swindon.
Gab?
I think it'll be a Port Vale Mansfield final, and I think Mansfield are going to win it.
Apologies, Charles.
I'm not talking to them.
Fuming. I think we better end it there before tensions run too high. Charles, Ollie, Gab, lovely to have your company. Thank you ever so much for your insight and analysis. All the best for next season as well. So they've had their say. Remember, you can have yours as well. So you need to head over to 90min.com to vote for your PFA Vertu Motors Fans Player of the Year.